welcome back to the Money Bear podcast. This is your host, Chloe Daniels, better known as Clo Bare Money Coach on the internet. And I got to say, I feel like I have to rush into this quick money tip because my internet has not been working all morning. And I just got it back on and I'm just like, oh my God, how long am I going to have an internet connection? We'll see how this episode goes. But I have some news for everybody. I moved to San Diego and I signed a 1-year lease this week. I'm super excited about it. I'm essentially just staying in the same spot that I arrived in. And I just got to the point where I was looking on Zillow every day, looking at different listings. And I was just like, man, none of these places are as nice as the place that I'm in right now. This place is like 1,000 square feet. It's got like Chicago vibes because it's like the old craftsman work where you've got all the woodwork and tons of natural light. It's in an amazing part of San Diego in the Golden Hill neighborhood. And I just really love it. So I ended up texting my landlord and was like, hey, would you be open to me signing a 1-year lease here? Because it's like a furnished place that you can find on Furnished Finder, which is a app for travel nurses looking for furnished apartments. And she was down. So she raised the price a little bit because I had gotten in on a deal. So I'm paying about $3,000 a month. The $3,000 a month includes like my utilities. It also includes she is paying for a housekeeping service to come, or a deep clean service to come every 2 weeks, or I'm sorry, 2 months on her dime. She asked me if that was okay. And I was like, hell yeah, that's okay. And so now I will be here for the next 15 months because I have the 3 months that I already booked here for $2,650 a month. And then my $3,000 a month begins in August and I will have a whole year on it. So I'm really excited. I'm going to head back home to my hometown to grab some of my stuff just because now that I know I'm going to be here for the long term, I would like to bring some of my things here and make it really feel like home. So hopefully I'll have my standing desk soon and bring all my clothes and Logan can have her beanbag chair. So I'm stoked. And it'll be nice too. I can move out my bike. I haven't been on my bike in forever, it feels like, just because I've been moving around. So I don't think I've ridden my bike for over a year. If you guys can hear that, Cash is just like walking around chirping he loves it here. So Cash, my cat, is currently trying to get the bugs outside. So that's that noise happening in the background right now. It's pretty cute, but I was really worried about him. I was worried he was not going to be happy leaving all his friends at my parents' house, but he's honestly seemed fine. So the camera's moving because his butt's in the laptop. So he just got down. But anyway, so that's my life update. In terms of the money tip this week, I want to talk a little bit about what do you do when you get into a super spendy mode. And the reason that I want to talk about this is because I have been in a super spendy mode. Everybody raise your hand if you move and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I end up needing to buy so many things? Me raising my hand. I I feel like for the last month, been in a super spendy mode where it's just like that kind of fuck it mentality has sunk in. And I'm like, I'm moving. I had a vacation. I am literally transversing myself all the way across the country to land in San Diego. And I'm like, I am so ready to make this place feel like my home. So I just want to get all the house plans and get all the twinkle lights and get all the rugs and things like that. And it's like, I'm just like in that fuck it mode and pressing order. And I know a lot of us have that experience in my coaching sessions and in my classes with people. I know that this is a common experience. So I kind of want to talk about things to do to help navigate it. So let me first talk about some of the things that I am doing. So to give you more context, the place that I am renting is fully furnished. If I didn't buy anything, I could technically get by here for sure. There's couches, there are chairs, there's heaters, the bed, the bedding, towels, etc. But none of it's my stuff. None of it's my style. None of it's something that I would pick for myself. The moment I decided I was going to stay here long term, I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to get a rug. I need to get Cash a cat tree. I need to get some plants. I want this whole wall to be fairy lights. And then underneath the fairy lights, I'm going to put some trees and make it like a cozy reading nook. And all these ideas are just coming out because you have to keep in mind my perspective before I decided, okay, I'm actually going to move to San Diego was that I was going to buy a house in Tucson. I was like, I'm going to buy a house in Tucson. I'm ready to start like settling down. I'm ready to hunker down and make this place my own. And so I think that's like the mindset that I've been in, even in nesting into this home here in San Diego. I want so deeply and desperately to just feel at home, feel like this is and it will. I'm working on it. But what I am doing to try and mitigate that so that I don't just suddenly spend thousands of dollars on making this house my home right away, when especially all us business owners out there, this is like one of the worst couple of months because of quarterly taxes. Most of the time for quarterly taxes, we have 3 months in between each payment, but the April to June quarterly taxes, you only have 2 months 2 months. So you gotta pay quarterly taxes in April, which we just had to drop like 18 grand on quarterly taxes. Then you have 1 month, May, where you don't have to pay any taxes, and then June is when your next quarterly tax payment is. And so I'm working with my accountant to just be like, okay, how much do I need to put down? And it's a lot of freaking money. So I'm like, it's a cash flow tight time. And so I'm trying to be mindful of that because one, I just moved to a very expensive part of the world. Two, cash is king for me, like, especially when navigating changes and scaling in the business. And three, like, I need to get control over those like spendy desires. So the way that I am mitigating it is first, I'm making a list. So I have this little note in my notes app of all the things I want to buy, but I also have a list of all the things I want to get from my old place. So as I was planning how to like design or decorate the bedroom, I was like, I want all my bedding to be white. Like I want that fresh and clean, white, Airbnb, Zen, everything. And so I went on to Amazon and I was like ready to press order on a duvet and a comforter and all of those things. I was like, Chloe, you have a white comforter at home. Okay. So that went on the list of things that I'm going to grab when I go home to ship a pod out here. Then I was like, I want to get a rug for every room so that I can protect these wood floors and make it more cozy. And I was like, all right, we at least have 2 rugs at home. So I can wait on those. I could bring those out. But one rug I do need. So I did put that on the to buy list. So breaking it down into what can I get? What do I already have? To what can I buy? So I have this go to list of when I have the money and when I'm ready to spend the money, these are the things that I'm going to be able to purchase. The other thing that I have been doing, which is really helpful for me, is if I'm shopping on Amazon or some place that I know I can like add to cart and come back to it, I will add it to cart and then I'll press save for later so that I know I found this thing that I wanted. If I've done so much scrolling to look for it and I put it in my cart, but instead of pushing buy, I'm just pushing save for later. So in the future, when I don't do Amazon Prime anymore, but I try to get free shipping anytime that I can. So I'm always like, I'm not going to press order unless I get free shipping on it. It's probably dumb because they probably jank up the prices just to get free shipping. But anyway, so whenever I'm like trying to get to whatever my order minimum is, if there's something in the list that I'm like ready to order, then I can also do that. So that's been helpful too, just because I feel like I spend a lot of time scrolling looking for the exact thing that I want. So putting it into the cart is helpful. And then the save for later is like, okay, it's not going anywhere. I have this. I know exactly what I need. So those are the two things that I am doing. And then in addition to that, I also am just giving myself like a budget for when I am allowed to spend the money. So I'm going to start because there's a lot of anxiety here for me in terms of moving to a much higher cost of living area, needing to buy a bunch of different things that, to be fair, I did budget for. I would like to get back on kind of the zero based budget for a little while just to feel more in control of all the expenses that are coming in and going. I've talked to you guys before about how I always recommend starting with a zero based budget because you're manually tracking what's coming in and what's going out. But you don't have to do it forever. Once you get the hang of it, once you get a control over your spending, it's a little bit easier to see you do have control. You do have the opportunity for saving and managing that money, but you don't have to do it forever because as long as you are investing and saving what you need to, or putting it down on debt or whatever those goals are, that's what really matters. For me, I had entered into that mode these last couple of years of I don't have to worry so much about every single dollar that's coming in. Instead, I can really just focus on how much am I saving and investing? But now with just the anxiety around moving to a higher cost of living area and having all of these expenses that are coming up, I want to manage it. And that way I can set a realistic budget about what can I get right now for the home. There's a list of things that I want to get. How do I work that into a budget so that I'm not going into credit card debt or I'm not dipping into my savings or anything along those lines just to make it happen? So, like for example, tomorrow I am going to Home Depot to get some houseplants and I'm going to give myself a budget of probably like $150 and then I'm not buying anything else until like my next budgeting period. That's like the three main things that I'm doing, but one of the tips I also wanted to share is if you're in this spending mode and it's not because of like a moving situation, which obviously this tip was very much based around that. But also, I think all these tips can apply even if you're not moving. If you're just in a spending mood, it's okay, make a list, use the save for later so that you know it's there. And I will tell you a lot of the stuff that I put into the save for later on Amazon, I forget about. I don't come back to it, but sometimes I do. And then beyond that, getting back on a budget and really addressing where money is going and seeing if you're comfortable with the pace that you're going at. But the other thing that I really loved was a tip that came from my friend Selma. She's on Instagram as Bitch I'm Budgeting. And her tip was that when she gets in that spendy bougie mood, what she does for her self care evenings or to make it feel like she's splurging is she'll take $25 out in cash and she'll go to a Dollar General or a Five Below and just allow herself to buy whatever the heck she wants within that $25 budget. And she'll do stuff like incense and bath salts or bath bombs and like just things, some chocolate to essentially create that little date night for herself. And it still feels luxurious. It feels like this special experience. And I loved how she positioned it because it's so achievable. You can do that on any budget, even if it's $5. $5 can go a long way at a dollar store. And it's stuff that's just like fun, stuff that just feels good. When I was preparing for the road trip from Illinois to California, I went to the dollar store and put together this fun, ridiculously large gift care basket for my boyfriend who had never been on a road trip before. And it was just little things that actually I'm like even playing with one right now. I got to keep some of it because let's be honest, some of the gift stuff was for me, but I knew he might like some of it. He liked all the snack stuff, but like I said, I struggle with attention. I think I likely have a touch of ADHD. And because of that, things like this, which I'm holding up these like squishy balls, really help me feel less anxious and process more things. I don't know if anxious is the right term, just less scattered in terms of where my attention is being pulled. And all of this stuff was like incredibly cheap, incredibly affordable, but it felt special and like a little treat. So I love that idea and I love it because it still scratches that itch that you have in this like spendy mode and you're still able to stay within budget. So I think that that's a really important thing is, just like in diet culture, which I don't support diet culture, but I know most of us have probably at some point been on a diet or been on an eating plan. So you can relate to this. But if you've ever tried to go on a super restrictive diet or a diet that has a ton of rules and that you feel like you have to be perfect in order to succeed on, it's so easy to just try and tighten those reins as much as possible with zero flexibility. But what usually happens when we do that, right? What usually happens is we have a binge episode. We go crazy. We ate everything in the pantry. We order DoorDash. We go through a drive through and we go batshit crazy, right? Because we've been restricting for so long. It's the same thing with our budgets. So if you're in that spending mode, it's okay. We just have to find ways to mitigate it where it's okay, what can I realistically do here? If I'm feeling the spendy mode, what am I willing to dedicate to my binge spend mode in order to stay on my financial goals, stay on track for all of that, but also scratch that itch. So that's really the point behind all of these things. With the list building, you get a little bit of that like dopamine hit building the list and thinking about all the things that you're going to purchase for whatever the situation is that you're dreaming up. We get a little bit of that dopamine effect when we're adding to cart and then pressing save for later. We get a little bit of that dopamine hit when we take our $25 and we go to Five Below or the dollar store and just go crazy on whatever the heck we want for the evening. That stuff, it all works because we're still like we're honoring it, we're acknowledging it, we're not trying to just shove it down and pretend that those desires don't exist. So I hope that helps you guys. That's a lot of the stuff that I've been thinking about. And for me, the budget thing and just going back to the numbers, it gives me peace of mind and it just reminds me of what I'm working towards. But I think also gratitude has been very big in navigating the spending as well, of just being like, wow, I'm so grateful that I get this big, beautiful apartment for the next year. Wow, I'm so grateful that I live in a place where I can walk to a grocery store or walk to a coffee shop. Wow, I'm so grateful that like my dog and my cat, which Cash must just have known that I was talking about him because he just jumped up to the microphone. He's so cute, guys. I love him so much. The only thing I didn't get with this apartment is a separate office. So the reason I went with one bedroom, and I know some of you are probably like 3 grand for one bedroom. Keep in mind it's 3 grand for one bedroom in Golden Hill, which is a really nice neighborhood. And it's like 1,000 square feet, which is hard to find. And its layout is like my old place back in Chicago, where you have the living room and then you have a huge dining room, a kitchen, and then I have a massive bedroom. So the dining room is serving as a hybrid room for me of an office and a dining room, but I didn't get my dedicated office space. I was really hoping that in my next move I would have a dedicated office space, but it seems like the cat sounds, the dog sounds will remain until we someday have an office. But generally, most of the time, they're pretty good. And I think the sound quality is still okay. Plus, it serves as entertainment, right? Just having random moments where Cash decides to join the conversation or Logan decides to get locked under the dining room table. So, yeah, giving me a moment of not remembering what we were talking about. But yes, so the $3,000, it covers all that. It also gives me that cleaning. It covers my utilities, free parking. There's no pet rent, and a landlord who will occasionally take my dog for walks. So I'm okay with all of that. What I am really shocked about is how much. So I think I told you guys when I got on that I was having a lot of internet problems. That fix is going to be like $165 a month fix. So right now, and for the last year and a half, I've been paying about $50 a month for a T-Mobile like wireless router that I can take with me anywhere and have internet anywhere. And it doesn't seem to work here in San Diego. So it's just been really slow. Like my upload or my download speeds when I was in Illinois were close to 300 Mbps or whatever it is. I don't know what those mean, but I just know that 300 is pretty fast. Now they're at like 30 Mbps, and that's if it's a good day. Right now, I think today when I ran my speed test, I was at like 17. So I am trying to get some Cox internet in here today. I had gotten the router and set up everything yesterday, but it, of course, didn't work. You know how those self installs go? They never freaking work. And I spent an hour with a technician on the phone. And of course, like I knew from the very beginning that they were going to just have to send out a technician. But of course, in order to like cover themselves, they have to go through like the step by step process of troubleshooting it to make sure that the technician is really what needs to happen. And of course, nothing that we did worked, and they had to send out a technician. So the technician's coming out this afternoon. I'm really hoping that means by the end of day today, I have super fast internet. This internet that I'm getting is supposed to be like a 2 gigablast, which I don't even know what that means. I just know it's like really fast. So I'm hoping that's realistic. I hope that actually happens because, yeah, not having a good internet connection will definitely be problematic. But we're going to see what our options are and we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it work. So, yeah, that's a little bit of what I've got going on in my life right now. I don't like dealing with this stuff and I can't wait to just be like settled in and have my place looking the way I want it to and feel like this is like really my space. But there's beauty in the process as well. There's beauty in the moments where it's like full of potential and we're waiting for what's next. That's happening right now. So I'm excited about it. Back to the whole spending mode and thing like that. I last night I've told you guys I'm nervous about the price of living increase. I am scared about how much I'm going to be paying in taxes. That's just me being honest. Because this is new territory. I'm doing it anyway, because sometimes we got to do stuff even when we're scared of it. But to ease my mind, I've run the number so many different times in so many different scenarios. Like I'll look at, okay, if I can't invest as much as I was investing, how is that going to impact my retirement? When am I going to become a millionaire? what am I going to do this and this? And what do I need to make in order for the bare minimum expenses to be covered? And so running those numbers does give me peace of mind. And what I decided is there's a couple of things I'm going to cut back on during this adjustment phase where I'm trying to hoard a little bit more cash just to feel more comfortable with living here. There's like a few things I was like, all right, we're not going to spend any money on tattoos. We're not going to get any more piercings. I just got a nose piercing. That's why that made the list. And I really want to get a septum piercing, but we're going to wait on that. I'm not going to spend any more on beauty for a little while, so we're going to take a break from things like Botox. What else did I say? I really want to get I have not shared this yet, and I'm always cautious about sharing stuff like this, but I have struggled with my double chin for my whole life, like my whole life. It's like a genetic thing. We call it the Daniels double. Everybody in my family, except for my mom, because she's not a Daniels or not an OG Daniels, everybody has a double chin in my family. It doesn't matter if you're 100 freaking pounds or if you're 250 pounds, we all have double chins. And I've hated mine forever, especially because I'm constantly on video, I'm constantly in photos and things along those lines. And so last year, I tried doing Kybella, and Kybella is like this acid that you can inject into your face or any really fat pockets, and it's supposed to essentially eat away at the fat. I did multiple treatments. It is one of the most painful treatments I've ever had to get because it's literally acid getting injected into your face. And the worst part is it swells up your face so that you look like a turkey for a week. And the whole time it burns. And they tell you, like, oh, maybe you just need a couple more treatments. Maybe you just need a couple more treatments. But not that long ago, like a month and a half ago, I saw someone who she does posing and she'll like teach awkward people how to pose. And she's plus size, which I love. And she had shared a photo of her chin anniversary. And I was like, what? And I look and she had gotten chin plastic surgery. So she had done the liposuction, the chin lipo, and then something else that's like helping restructure it. And I was like, this has sold me. And she in the comments was mentioning how she had tried Kybella and she's like, it's a total scam. And I was like, this has convinced me that I just wasted probably 5 grand on Kybella last year. So if anybody's considering Kybella, don't freaking do it. It doesn't freaking work. I still feel like I look exactly the same as I did before 5 grand in acid treatments, essentially. But it's because I was against doing stuff like that for a really long time because in my mind, it's, oh no, just accept it, just accept it. But it's like at some point, if you get to the point where this is impacting your happiness, this is impacting your confidence, this is impacting who you feel you were meant to be, and you've done what you can to try and accept it, and you have the means to change it, why wouldn't you? You know, why the heck not? You only live once. If this is impacting your happiness, go freaking handle it. Who cares? I tried the body acceptance. I tried, and I'm light years from where I used to be. I don't hate myself anymore. I don't judge myself anymore as much as I used to. And this one thing is like this thing that just makes me unhappy with how I look in photos and videos and things along those lines. So I'm just at the point where I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get chin freaking lipo and say goodbye to this Daniels double for forever. So anyway, the reason I was bringing that up is because one of the things that I've decided I'm going to set pause on while I'm trying to hoard some more cash is anything related to beauty. So that is going to be put on hold. I wanted to do it this fall. I think I'll probably still be able to do it this fall as long as I meet my emergency fund slash reserves fund goal. But yeah, so that's a lot about me. You guys didn't probably even know. So yeah, don't do Kybella. I will allow myself to still get eyelash extensions as long as I can continue to work that into the budget. And then the other stuff that I'm pausing on is what did I write down? It was tattoos, piercings, beauty, clothes, makeup, and eating out by myself. So no DoorDash by myself. Like instead, I'll just go to the grocery store if it's like a night where I'm like, I don't have anything prepared. It's going to be pancakes or it's going to be going to the grocery store to find something. So just cutting back on a few things while I'm really hunkering down and focusing on some financial goals is what I'm going to be doing in this adjustment period to San Diego. That's pretty much all I got for you guys today. It's a little scatterbrained just because that's a reflection of where I've been this week of readjusting. I also have had a terrible poison ivy rash and I had to go to a express care and the express care bill ended up being $500 for a poison oak rash. Really cool. So it just feels like I'm bleeding money lately. And some of that is my fault. Some of that is circumstantial. but I'll be excited to get to a place where I don't feel like I'm just like hemorrhaging money anymore. But the poison oak rash, luckily, at least after going to the express care, it has been going down. It's still very itchy. I've been taking a break from CrossFit while that is going down just because it's been a open wound essentially for a while. But I'm hoping that by next week I'll be able to get back into the gym because I am generally a happier, more productive person when I'm able to hit the gym on a consistent basis. Anyway, this is a long, quick money tip, but I hope it's helpful. I feel like springtime and summertime is definitely a period of time where a lot of us do shift into this let me spend more money mode. But hopefully, some of these tips will help you to mitigate that. You're not going to be able to make it go away. So, what can we do to mitigate it? And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks if you made it this far. I appreciate you. If you have tips on San Diego, if you want to come to a meetup, I'm definitely going to be hosting some meetups in San Diego. More details to come, but if so, DM me if you're interested in attending. DM me your email address and we'll get you on a list for all things San Diego Clo Bare meetup. I'm really excited to make some friends. I luckily have a couple of friends here already. One who actually used to be an old client of mine, and then one who's also a finance creator. And yeah, I'm excited to just make this my home. So appreciate all of you. I love you all, and I will see you next week. Bye bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Money Bear podcast. If you've made it this far, do us a favor, take 2 seconds, rate, review, and subscribe. It seriously means the world to me. And if you just take a sec to do that, I will appreciate you endlessly. And if you do, let me know on Instagram and I'll thank you personally. So, got that. And of course, since we were talking about anything financial on this show, please note that nothing on this show is intended as financial advice. I don't know you, unfortunately. And because of that, I cannot tell you what to do with your money. You got to work with a financial professional who knows your situation, who is preferably a fiduciary. And keep in mind that everything that we talk about on this podcast is for education and entertainment purposes only. It's all my opinion. So, there's that. If you want to see our full terms and conditions, head on over to the show notes. And while you're there, we've got free resources for you to get started on your money journey down in the show notes as well, including a free guide to help you with your budgeting templates and budgeting tutorials and investing 101, understanding the different accounts that are out there. All that good stuff is inside of my free guide, which is also available at thelazyinvestorscourse.com/guide. And if you're ready to take our relationship to the next level, I am also hosting a monthly investing class. And that investing class, you can find the times we're offering it this month at thelazyinvestorscourse.com/webinar. That link is in the show notes as well. And that's where you have the chance to meet me live and ask those money questions live. It's a good time. We've had over 20,000 people as of recording this join or register. And yeah, it's always nice to meet you guys. So I hope to see you there. Again, all that is available down in the show notes. So thank you again for coming and listening. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week.